Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Biggie546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. Alright, so I wanted this video to be mostly about the offense. But just to get this out of the way, we have signed Todd Davis, the linebacker from Denver. He actually came from the Vikings, but he, of course, was a good linebacker from Denver. He was someone who has over 500 career tackles, 23 tackles for loss. He has, I think, 1 interception, and he has had 2 100 tackle seasons. So every time he's been a full-time starter, he gets over 100 tackles. I think he's not necessarily, I think he's a good compliment for the fact that Tay Crowder is out there, because Tay Crowder is not your read and react linebacker like that. Reggie Ragland is probably a similar player to him. Blake Martinez is probably a better version of Todd Davis. But it's good to have him out there because I think he's better than the other inside linebackers we have. I'm kind of high on Carter Coughlin. I think I want him to play a lot inside and outside, because if you check out a video I did a couple of months ago on Micah Parsons, comparing him to Carter Coughlin, the way that they can be used as interior pressure players as far as blitzing from the inside linebacker position, spying the quarterback, being a weapon, I think Carter Coughlin can be great at that. But Todd Davis has signed with the Giants. I don't know anything about the numbers. It's probably something where he's going to have to be able to win a job. If not, I doubt much will count against the cap, or if any. So that's something that happened. Another player that the Giants signed was Damian Willis. He is a receiver who hasn't really done much. I checked his snap counts. Doesn't really play on offense. Never has really been. He has 80-something yards for his career. I don't think he has a touchdown. He did have a pretty good game against the Giants and a preseason game a couple of years ago. But other than that, Damian Willis has not really done much in his career. And that's pretty much who he is. He's a 6'3" guy, so he's a big body. I'm thinking they're bringing him in as someone to give them looks in the, as far as the practice squad, because you need those guys on your practice squad who are big bodies who can go up and get the ball. And that's what Damian Willis can do. He just hasn't been able to do it at that level in an actual game environment. So we'll keep an eye out for him. But Damian Willis is just a little bit of a under the radar signing that I don't think really means a bunch. I doubt he's going to make this roster unless he does something ridiculous in preseason, which I just don't see happening. I just don't see it happening. But Damian Willis is not really going to challenge for anything. And then also, before I get into the next part of this video, which is specifically about the offense, Matt Parrott is back. I mentioned in my other video, Shane Lemieux isn't back, but he's only going to be out for 2 weeks. That's what the reports are saying. But Matt Parrott is officially back in practice. Blake Martinez is back. I don't think he's going to be on the field. He's probably going to be on the sideline getting his win back, but he is back. He's off of the little protocol list, and Matt Parrott is actually in practice. So we'll see Matt Parrott in full pads hopefully on Tuesday. If not, maybe they'll give him a couple of days. Kadarius Toney, we're still waiting on. Hopefully we see him on Monday. But back to the topic of this video, all I've been seeing is report after report after report that the Giants offense has been struggling, and the defense is just dominating, and the Giants offense is tripping over themselves. Daniel Jones is missing throws. The defense is tipping things away. Everything is getting intercepted. I mean, I've seen people speculate as to how passes traveled in the air when we don't even have video footage of some of these passes, and fans are saying that Daniel Jones is missing people wide open when all they're saying is passes are going incomplete. Either way, the offense, yes, to a certain point, has been struggling. Now, one thing I will say is, according to people who have actually been there at the practice, some of the hosts of Big Blue Kickoff Live over there on Giants.com, John Smelk, Paul Dottino, who were actually there at practice, they've been saying that Kenny Golladay has been looking good. He's been catching most of the passes going his way. Now, the media, I think, have caught maybe 1 or 2 drops, but they said for the most part he's been catching everything that's been thrown his way. I did see one catch where they threw him a pass and it was almost to the ground and he just reached down with no effort and just plucked it out of the air. So it shows that he does have some soft hands. They've been saying that Kenny Golladay has looked like the best player out there. So if they're saying and they were actually there, I'm just going to have to listen to them. Other reports have been saying that Kenny Golladay has been kind of getting shut down by James Bradberry. And I'm going to get to that. And do you know why everybody is saying that these players are getting shut down and the offense is struggling? Because the Giants have been running 11 on 11 drills. And they've been, every time they run these drills, they're in the red zone. Now you see the Dolphins and the Jets and the Cowboys, who are actually ramping up to play a game next week. So they need to be practicing like this. But you see all these teams showing these highlights of receivers catching passes 40, 50 yards downfield. Guess what? The Giants are only running red zone plays. Guess what happens in the red zone? Especially when you have one of the best secondaries in the league. You have so much depth in the secondary. Your offense is filled with a ton of new pieces. And you have one of the best secondaries and defenses. So guess what? When you get in the red zone, everything is compressed. It's a lot easier to play coverage. It's a lot easier to get your hands on passes because there's less field to cover. There's no threat of a deep pass. So when you put John Ross or Kenny Golladay on the field, there's no threat of a 50-yard bomb or a 40-yard bomb even. I mean, the deepest they went out was the edge of the 20 or maybe a little bit further than that. So to say that the offense has been struggling, yes, that's partially true, but you have to provide context because it has people thinking that this offense is playing a scrimmage-like game against the defense, and at every part of the field, they're just getting shut down. Of course, if you have people in the red zone playing football, it's going to be a lot easier to cover these guys. And guess what? The defenders know the plays. On top of them being a better unit than the offensive unit talent-wise, and that's not debatable. The defense is a better unit. They're just a better unit than the offense. On top of them being better, on top of them being in the red zone with less field to cover, they also know the plays. So why wouldn't they be able to dominate the way that they are? That's all I'm saying. Now, of course, Kenny Golladay and Daniel Jones have to be able to practice against this kind of defense to get on that same page so they can be better in the red zone. Also, you have to realize there's no pads. So, I mean, how does that really affect the running game? Can you really drive people off the ball to run the ball in the red zone? Or is that part of the equation taken off? Because what if your coach says, I need you to work on fades in the red zone? They've been throwing fade after fade after fade. We've seen those reports. They've been throwing a bunch of fades in the red zone. So if the defense knows that they're going to throw those fades, why wouldn't they be on their P's and Q's to make sure that they don't give up those fades? And again, can you really run the football down there while you don't really have pads on? You don't have Saquon on the field. You don't have Kyle Rudolph out there on the field. You're missing Matt Parrott. You're missing Shane Lemieux now. So it changes the way that you attack things. So I just wanted to give you all that context of they're only playing in the red zone. That's something that should be said, but it's not been said by most of these reporters. I'm not sure why, but they're only playing in the red zone. That's why they haven't been able to dominate like we would want them to down there, on the 11-11 drills. But of course, I want to see some more from Kenny Golladay. Hopefully, they start to stretch the field. And before I get to that, I do want to tell you why they're only playing in the red zone. That's because Joe Judge said from the beginning he wants to ramp players up increment by increment. You saw that there were no huge injuries last year in training camp. He wants to start them off, jogging, training, relaxed. Then he wants them to do things in the red zone to where they're only running 20 or 30 yards. They're only going to move so many yards down the field because they're not going to get to full speed at that point, which reduces injuries. It reduces injuries because most of the injuries you see are 40, 50 yards down the field where someone opens up and they're going full sprint and they pull a hamstring. So that's going to reduce those injuries. And I think starting next week, you'll start to see them go out to the 40-yard line, go out to the 50-yard line. And that's when you'll start to see big plays. And then the reports are going to be the Giants' offense has gotten so much better as practice has gone on. But no, they're in a completely different situation. So I just wanted to give that context. Again, you guys let me know, are you worried about the offense? I'm not. I'm not worried about the offense until I see them, first of all, scrimmaging against the Browns, scrimmaging against, the Patriots, and actually playing in preseason games. And even if they struggle then, I'm not going to be worried about this offense holding us back until they actually make us lose games in the regular season, because we have all the talent there. We have guys coming back, Saquon coming back. We haven't seen Kadarius Toney on the field yet. He could be an absolute game changer for us. We never know. So let's relax on the offense. They'll be fine. And don't believe everything you see, and research everything you see, because it could just be a whole bunch of shenanigans. So you guys have a great rest of your day. And if you made it this deep into the video, all I'm going to say is I'm streaming at 6 p.m. today Eastern time. I will be giving away 2 FanFest tickets if you haven't been able to get some. So definitely tune in for that. I hope you all are able to get some. Hope you're able to win. I'm only giving away 2 though. And hope to see you there. If you made it this deep into the video, come on, just hit the subscribe button. I make Giants content primarily, draft content secondarily, and during the season, I'm going to be doing a lot of reacting to pretty much most of the NFL games and everything NFL. So if you made it this deep, go ahead and join the D6 squad.